Not everybody's guaranteed to just be awesome every single year. Like
McDavid's a different beast than ever.
Obviously,
Clearly,
he is the exception where he is going to be McJesus regardless.
But and Bouchard,
Bouchard's 24, isn't he? Like, how old is he? I'm just looking it up right now.
We're not saying that
25,
that is a possibility of it falling off a cliff, but it's just.
Yeah, that guy's
I guess what I'm just trying to say is there's no guarantees.
Well, if he plays till he's 36, he just signed till he's 29, and he can sign an 8-year deal at 29. And I think that's what these guys are saying. There's so much money out for the top players.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of them. So unfortunately, you're right. Edmonton would have signed him to 8 years in a heartbeat because he's part of their core. But he said, "I'll take 4 at a lower number," and they're trying to fit him in because it's still the cap's only 96 next year, and it's going to go to 105 or whatever it is, and then 113. Like, it'll be 125 in 4 years. By the time,
but you got to get there. Yeah, you got to get there. But you're right, Noodles. I hear what you're saying. But now with this deal, it sounds like they have between like $1 million, $2 million to play with. I get it. They have a full summer, all that, blah blah blah.
Arvidsson being traded. That's another 4.
Okay.
Like
but every team in the league can play that game. Like, you still got to fill out a roster. Like, you gotta figure out who else you're gonna, who else you're gonna acquire. It's not that we didn't know this was coming. Like, Ekblad or Bouchard was gonna get paid, and Draisaitl's deal's kicking in. This was inevitable. This was going to happen. Whether it was a 4-year deal, a 1-year deal, or an 8-year deal, he was going to get a lot of money.
Yep.
But it's just, there are some GMs with a lot of flexibility in the league, and there's some that are up against it. And Edmonton's got to figure out what else they can do here. But I think it plays on both sides. Like, you're in a window here, and Bouchard's a big piece of it, and you gotta make adjustments.
You got to be happy that if you at least got it done. Now you move on to 97, and then you move on to rounding your team out. Like, I think there's going to be some changes around the edges there. They'll move some players around, and you go right back at it. But I think.
What do you think the length of McDavid's deal will be, Jamie?
I told you. I think it's 4 years. I think he's got the same agent as Matthews, because it'll be a 4-year extension, in my opinion, which would be 5 years because he's got a year left on his deal. So a 5-year, that's a long time in hockey. Plus he's put in 9 already. How many years has he been there?
10? Yeah, he's been there 10 years. No, he's played 10 years in the league.
That would take him to 15 years with the same team. It's a long time. I think we are focused, but that is going to the league is already with this new CBA trying to shorten the length of max term anyways. I think this is just it's par for the course.
But what I guess the counter to that is that's the league saying we want shorter. These are players saying we want shorter, which is kind of interesting because, I don't know what's going to happen with Marner. We've heard conflicting reports. Does he want a 4-year deal? Does he want an 8-year deal? If it's a sign and trade, it'll be an 8-year deal. I guess we'll find out, relatively soon. But I guess it comes down to the mentality of players, betting on yourself, and because there is an element of security that comes with 8 years, full no move. I know where I am. I know where I'm going. Sure, I could have made a little bit more money, but I don't have to worry about it anymore, and I'm just done. Like, you look at Florida, Bennett's not to the same status, but they're all like, just give me 8 years. And so I know I can just stay, and I'm done, and I'm not coming up again. And it takes, a different athlete, I think, to be wired that way. It's like, I'm comfortable playing for contracts and playing for the next one that's coming up.
The only thing that's different, though, is like Bennett's 29 and never really made huge money. So he'll takes the 8 years. These guys are 25, 20. What's nice? 24, 23. They're like, I'll take 6, I'll take 4, whatever, because they know this isn't their last deal.
True.
That's it. They're
true enough.
That's why it makes it unique. Do you remember? Look at the Ottawa. They signed how many guys at 8 years? It was Brady, it was Stützle, it was Sanderson.
Montreal, same thing. Yeah, with Caulfield and Suzuki.
And those deals are going to look amazing.
Dobson just signed for 8.
That was a great. I don't know what you guys thought. What a great acquisition for Montreal. That was
he's a good player. He's just adds an element of talent and skill and a guy in his prime.
I like that from Montreal's end. It's you don't want that guy on your team. We'll take him on our team. Right shot defenseman that can play in all situations.
Yeah,
take him every
Wanted
time.
to be in Montreal, right? Was like craving that spotlight. Wants to be there.
You have him, and like that Gooley's a hell of a player. Like he's and
got to
so
stay
is
healthy. Like that's the big thing with him. But
I mean,
well,
Hudson,
you think of that decor, that they could put together for the next 5 or 6 years. Those are some good players, man.
Really good.
Yeah, they got that Reinbacher kid who blew his knee out or whatever last year, but they took him for 5th overall a couple of years ago.
Logan Mayu kid.
Yeah,
obviously
they're going to flip someone like at some point, I would think, because they got a lot of bodies now on the back end. But it is a shrewd move by Montreal. Like smart
and just
play.
Interesting to see now what is the Islanders' mentality. You know, what are they doing there? Because that'll be a team to watch. Now, are we in all hell's breaking loose? Like, did I actually call it this time? Remember, I've been calling it for 10 years straight. But is really all hell's breaking loose here?
I don't think we've reached that level of insanity yet. You know, like Dobson that's a big deal, good player, moving on, but you know, again, there's a lot of re-signings, you know, a lot of like avoiding of offer sheets and stuff like that. We'll see what comes of it tomorrow. If Marner just goes to Vegas, that's not like crazy. It's just kind of anticipated now.
It'll still be heavy to talk about.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Marner signing and putting a different jersey on and showing up at some presser will be newsy.
Well, and Brad Marchand as well. If he gets to the market, that's you know, kind of legend of the game who could be available, and what his contract looks like and where he wants to play. I think it'll be very interesting.
Would it be more crazier if Marner went to like Anaheim for $14 million?
Yeah, so that would blow the doors off everything. If all of a sudden things break down with Vegas, and then he goes, screw it, I'm going somewhere else, and it's Anaheim or Utah or something like that, yes, then that would be different. But I always anticipate craziness being trades. You know, like that's what I'm waiting for. Maybe the Islanders are that team. Like maybe Barzal, maybe Horvat, maybe other guys. Maybe with Darsh there now and Lou out, they're like, we got to reset. We just took Matthew Schaefer. They just had a lot of picks in this draft.
Dude, who knows? They might take it down to the
well,
earth,
then Sorokin maybe becomes available.
Well, that's where everyone in Edmonton's like, I was there, and people are like, oh, Sorokin's. I go, first of all, what are you trading for him?
Right.
He's a top 5 goaltender in the league, or close to it. If like he's one of them, put it that way. What does he make? $9 million a year?
Yeah, it's 8 something or 9. Yeah, it's a lot of. It's a big ticket.
How you
gonna
afford?
Might have been one of those guys that Hayes and Jonas attacked when you were gone.
That's not true.
And we saw how that.
I don't believe so. I don't believe that's accurate. Jonas might have, but not me.
It was actually Jonas.
It
was Jonas.
Yes.
He's a top tier goaltender, and if he ends up looking for a change, it's just how do you afford him, and what do you trade for him? Like if he's let's call him a top 10 player, top 10 goalie in the league, okay? You're not trading, the rights to Connor Brown and, a 7th defenseman. Like you're going to get a king's ransom back for that. So it's dumb to just link him somewhere if the Islanders are actually going scorched earth. But he's a good goaltender, he's been up and down under Patrick Waugh. And if
Jamie, what did you make of the other guy getting traded, John Gibson? It feels like John Gibson's been rumored to be traded for so long. I don't even remember John Gibson playing elite where you're like, somebody should trade for this guy. Well, I don't remember those days.
He had a good statistical season last year. Lucas Dostal was better than him. And
but do you think he's going to solve Detroit's issues in net?
I think if he's healthy, he's better than what they've had. Put it that way. But I will preface my comments saying this will be one of your lists, Brian, or one of our Jerry's. Who will play more games, John Gibson or Thatcher Demko? Because it sounds like Demko's looking at an extension potentially in Vancouver. And again, that's a guy when he's on his game is a top-tier goaltender. I think Gibson is outside of that top 10. But Gibson, I did that stat, guys. He left the net 19 times in 18 months.
Yeah, with injuries
and pulled and all of that. But that's crazy.
Detroit is just so desperate for goaltending.
Well, they do. They need it.
Yeah, they look at who they've acquired over the last 3 or 4 years, or just in the Yzerman era. It's just been crazy, and now Gibson's the guy. I mean, I don't think people in the East are overly concerned about that. I really don't. I don't think anyone's like, now Detroit's a real player. because they have
No.
John Gibson.
But the weird thing is I looked, I thought he was like 35. He's 31. It's just he's been around a long time and, mileage, all of that type of stuff. But you're right. Like, I think he's a good goaltender. But Detroit needs to make some more moves than that.
Oh, yeah,
to
for
try and get
sure.
better,
Man. For sure they do. All right, Chris Johnston on all the goings on, around the league, what we've seen already today, what he projects to happen with Marner, Marchand, and more between now and midnight tonight or by noon tomorrow. So CJ coming up in about 20 minutes. Jays Yankees starting tonight, 4-game series down at the Dome. We'll tee that up throughout the afternoon. Duncan Keith is on the show later this afternoon, too. We'll catch up with him. That'll be great. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.